أجواء كان صفرة جنوب غرب، الحرب دوران بأجواء جبل الزاوية بأجواء كان صفرة جنوب غرب.
There's barely enough of a lull for Abu Bakr to talk to us.
سيخوي 22 ميجا 23 سيخوي 22 الثاني من حمص عملهم بنفس المكان، كافة المدن كافة البلدات الانتباه من الحربيات.
He hit the village, Abu Bakr tells us, relaying what he just heard on the pilot frequency. Abu Bakr, a former communications officer during his Syrian military service, cobbled together this rudimentary setup to spy on the regime's radio frequencies. This one, we modified it to hear the strikes, the pilots, he explains, describing how he uses that information and what spotters on the ground send in to warn people and rescue teams over the walkie-talkie radios many now carry. There's no other way to protect the population.
Risa, call on the radio about a plane. They're getting calls now on the radio.
The skies in southern Idlib province, the last rebel stronghold, feel like they are constantly filled with the menacing roar of Syrian regime and Russian fighter jets.
Let's go, Grace, let's go. So based on what they're hearing, one plane came by and dropped 4 bombs. Sometimes there's 12 planes at a time that are overhead.
Life, if it can even be called that, is dictated by the bombs.
Assalamu alaikum.
Early morning lulls mean that the farmers can head out.
He says a barrel bomb fell over here.
Hassan tells us they came to their field one morning only to find it in flames. When we ask about his feelings, he turns and walks away. It's not just about the loss of this year's harvest. It's the overwhelming realization of the price they are paying. The Scorched Earth campaign repeatedly targeting Idlib's agriculture, ensuring that people will have nothing to return to, if they ever even can. The bombings have crushed even more people up against Turkey's border. Over the last few months, hundreds of thousands have fled. There's no room left at the main camps in the province. They cluster under the olive trees in makeshift shelters, even giving birth here. Or, as 88-year-old Maryam tells us, wishing she'd been killed, rather than live out the last of her days like this, where she doesn't even have a tent. Some do venture back south to collect what they've left behind. Their towns and villages mostly abandoned, turned into the front lines. Trenches are being dug, preparations for a ground war between the regime and hardcore rebel fighters. In other towns previously bombed, shops reopen under the ruins, an act of sheer defiance or perhaps folly, as jets, despite Russian and regime denials, regularly target markets, bakeries, schools, and hospitals.
Wait, there's an ambulance coming in.
People wounded are rushed into this hospital, the only functioning one in the area. The strike was close by, raising fears that the hospital itself could be targeted again. It's already been hit multiple times before. Another victim from another bombing is already undergoing surgery, while others in the ICU cling to life.
He just opened his eyes for the first time about 10 minutes ago, after 3 days of no response.
My message is help us. That's it, Dr. Basil Al-Ahmar says. We're human beings. Rana thought she would be able to keep her children safe. They fled their home to another village, but it wasn't far enough. Her son's face etched with wounds, hers with a mother's pain too deep for words. He was pulled out from under the rubble, but 2 of her other children, they were killed. One was 9 and one was 5.5, she tells us, unable to say more. In the same room, Buthaina looks on helplessly at her son, just 4 years old, injured in the same strikes that day. Humanitarian organizations are warning Syria is on the brink of a nightmare. Those who are living it will tell you that that nightmare began a long time ago. What they're about to enter is an even darker realm, one that defies logic and imagination. Arwa Damon, CNN, Idlib province, Syria.